last wave of 200, 300, 400 aircraft.
Prime Minister Brian
Just to focus on the fact that we have to anticipate there'll be additional surprises.
My name is Mark Geis, and I am currently the Executive Vice President of the Center for Naval Analyses. I was a junior analyst and had been at CNA less than 3 years when I took over as the field representative to the 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force down at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I was sent to Saudi Arabia with direction from General Mundy to focus on one thing, the first offload of Maritime Preposition Squadron 1 in support of real-world operations. So I was stationed in Al Jubail, which was about 130 miles from the Kuwaiti border. That was the location that the Marines and some of the other services chose to do the offload operations of their equipment. Hussein invaded Kuwait, and at the time, there was significant concern that Saddam Hussein was going to come across the border and invade Saudi Arabia. So they had the threat of an invading force and the need to get that equipment off the ships and to the fighting force as quickly as possible. There was a real concern early on that units would not be combat ready because they didn't have their full complement of equipment. They didn't have a process for sorting through the equipment in the containers, binning it to the units where it needed to go. Instead, it was just units coming with their own vehicles and just picking up stuff out of the containers, right? And that was very chaotic. Some units ended up being short in critical pieces of equipment, key vehicles, those types of things. And other equipment was just lost, right? There was no accounting for it. So one of the key things that we focused on in the follow-on operation was how to conduct those container operations in a way that you could easily get the right equipment to the units. So they came up with some different ways of thinking about the operation by having ships pre-positioned and not in CONUS per se, and then flying over the forces and the aviation assets to marry up with that equipment. I mean, the maritime prepositioning concept cut off weeks and weeks of time that it would take for the Marines to deploy. And it was really a game changer, right? I mean, the Marine Corps continues to use the concept to this day in different forms.
You can now listen to the full interview on the CNA Talks podcast, available on all major podcast platforms.